Hey, gang, it's Ruben. Welcome back to Placebo Effect Podcast. I am super thrilled to introduce my next guest. My next guest, Trey Caldwell, who first and foremost is a man of God, but Trey was also a college football superstar. He got drafted into the NFL, where he spent a little bit of time in the NFL and even the XFL. Trey, my guy, how are you doing, friend?
Ruben, what's going on? Ruben,
Yes,
hey, I
sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad I got you on. I've been wanting to set this up for a
appreciate you
minute.
reaching out.
So just to kind of set the table, right? I'll let you kind of unpack your story. I think, right, the general stereotype, right, especially with the youth in America, is they have the dreams of I'm going to be the next
Mhm.
NFL great. I'm going to be the Hall of Fame career and all this kind of great stuff. And the reality is that's kind of the 1/10 of the 1%, and the 1% itself even getting to the NFL is almost a miracle, right? So kind of tell me your story, tell me your journey of that path to the NFL, and clearly, right,
Mhm.
we'll get into like how that was not the end of the world when you didn't have this incredibly long Hall of Fame level journey, right? So
Yes. So, being from Dallas, Texas, I'm from the North Dallas, Richardson, Texas area. I grew up playing football. I mean, probably when I was 5, I say touch football. But I was always the kid running around when I was with my parents, like a little toddler running around, causing destruction, and they just put me in soccer, put me in all the sports, and had me running around, running past little kids growing up. And one thing each year, I just kind of gained more love into the sport of football rather than the other sports. Uh, it's with Texas being such a huge football sport. I mean, you can kind of get underlooked whether you have that potential, but there's so many great athletes that end up playing either college D1 ball up until the NFL. I mean, I could just based off the area of DFW. I mean, there's hundreds. So growing up from junior high to high school, I was always one of the top players on the team, but it was never it was always my dream to be in the NFL, but I knew that passion that I needed to get to, and I kind of really had good examples growing up as well. So even for example, I'd like to give credit to some of my trainers. Dave Underwood, he's now training in collegiate. His another one, Real Truth. If you don't know his name, Ronnie Braxton, like Keith Talib, like just being in high school and seeing him be in the NFL in the beginning of his career. Now he's a potential future Hall of Famer. Those are great examples that help me to really push each year, improve each year, and not really just be persistent, not be stagnant in the game of football. There was a lot of key steps I wanted to
right,
learn.
right, but let's
Get to.
let's go on the slow
Yeah.
walk, my guy, right? So I mean, you're this high school great.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, Texas is the hotbed, right? It's no secret that
Top three.
tons of colleges come and recruit here. But I guess even then, right? The stories kind of begin for a lot of the youth, like, oh, I'm gonna go to Bama, I'm gonna go to UT. I mean, you went to a smaller school like Louisiana Monroe. So I guess talk a little bit about kind of that journey. You're a phenom in high school, but then you go to a smaller school. Was that by choice, or how did that go for you?
So it was by choice. When it got to my junior, senior year, or say going up into my junior year, I started kind of gradually getting more looks. Of course, I did the bigger schools, their football camps. I did TCU, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and UTSA, and then Louisiana Monroe. Um, After my junior year, I had a great camp with Louisiana Monroe, and they offered me after they gave me an official visit. The Some of the takes when it came to the bigger schools was my size. I definitely wasn't the size I was now. I was in a D1 corner at the age of 16, so age of 17. I just kept gradually getting better. I did choose Louisiana Monroe due to the really strength schedule. Hey, they what happens when it comes to official visits? They show you that pretty much that next year's schedule. Hey, next year it was Arkansas, it was Auburn, it was Baylor, and then it was our conference games. And I'm seeing that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, also seeing former NFL guys on the board that came from Louisiana Monroe, I knew if I just continue to put in the work and be surrounded by great coaches, that's a possibility, it's an opportunity if it gets in front of me.
Cool, cool. And so then, right, you're this outstanding defensive back in Louisiana Monroe, enough clearly to get NFL attention, right? So, what would that must have been feel like to be like, oh my gosh, my dreams are coming true. Here we go to the league, baby. Because you were drafted by the Cleveland Browns. I don't want to rush that story again.
Yeah.
Let's do the slow walk. Like you're getting courted. Tell us about all that.
I say slow walk. It was I always say my Baylor game, my sophomore year, I was still rotating in that corner. Second half, I mean, we were getting killed. It was like 50-0. Like I was put in there second half to start, and really, I mean, I took off after that. The rest was history. I had a really good game, coming from the second half against Baylor, even though they almost put 100 on us. But hey, was able to make some plays, and I think the thing for me, I was really good at picking up specific details and receivers. I was a film guru. I was watching film in college a lot. I was in the dorm bed just watching on the iPad all the time. Thursdays, Fridays, before the college games, and it was going into my junior year. That's when I started. Some scouts started coming by, reaching out. I wouldn't say reaching out, but that what happens when we warm up at practice or spring ball, they talk to the upperclassmen, the seniors, and then they also talk to the coaches. The coaches, relay like, hey, this guy, he's probably next up. Here's a potential, not draft pick, but here's a potential NFL guy in some of our underclassmen. And so when it came to spring practice, they started. You could just tell, they got the clipboard. They're over at our warm ups at the sidelines, just kind of getting a glance of, hey, is this athlete a potential NFL player? And then they start coming to the games my senior year. So that's when I kind of started getting agents reaching out, and I really just was not. I wouldn't say I was overperforming. The big games, I just made sure I held my own. Nothing was getting past me. I was making plays that was coming to me,
Right.
and if you go against the bigger schools, that's a great comparison of like, hey, is he ready? You got Bama, Georgia, LSU, A&M, like the list goes on. When
Right,
it,
and I'm sure that's what led to your star rising is when you know the scouts are in the building, you're either going to bring your A plus game or you're going to cave to the nerves, and clearly, like you were bringing your A plus game, and so right, you've got the attention, you've got clearly the NFL interest, and then take us to like the 2016 NFL draft. Like, what was that day like for you, Jay?
so I'll be honest, it was a normal day. So I still had about 12 hours to get my degree. So I stayed in school and trained. I could have, just omitted and get my degree another time, but I decided to get those 12 hours of school. Trained in Monroe. Shout out to that training staff and as well. And that day, so for example, I could piggyback for pro day. I had pretty much the best pro that I could ever ask for. Um, Great 40-yard dash. I was quick, fast, didn't drop any balls. So that day, I got a call from the Giants at around 7:30 in the morning. This is day 3 of the NFL draft. They were talking to me about a potential, you know, if I'm available, they might potentially use that 6th round pick. Um, it's kind of easy to kind of, yeah, really, it's easy to navigate what picks are next up for certain teams. It's easy to look up. So I noticed they were 6th round. That was their last pick, and so I was still at my off-campus apartment, and me and my friend, we decided to go to his. We were watching the draft, and I kid you not, lunchtime kind of starts rolling around, and we decided to go to Chicken Express, and I get a call from the Browns while I'm at the drive-thru, and I'm telling him, it's my boy Nate. I'm telling him, hey man, turn it down, turn it down. So it's the Ohio ID. At the time, it's not going to show. Nowadays, it shows kind of the name, first name, last name, who might be personally calling. But all I saw was the Ohio ID, and it was a GM giving me a call and telling me like, hey, we love to select you 5th round, 172 pick. I know it's either 172 or 173 to the Cleveland Browns. And man, I got out the car, started running in circles, cried. Man, it's just such a surreal feeling. Something I've kind of wanted to pursue as a dream since I was 6th grade. Something I wrote down in 6th grade. So
Right.
that was
And
definitely a feeling.
and since you were a senior, right? So how old were you when you got drafted?
22. Yeah,
22, right? Yeah, that sounds about
you don't
right
you,
for that 4-year
how
path.
young you are getting in as well. I had just turned 22. I mean, that feeling, just thinking about it now, like it feels like it was just yesterday. Um, Time flies. Like I was 22 now. I don't want to give y'all my age. I'm 31 now. So I
That's all good.
yeah,
Yeah.
that if I was still playing. And I think the biggest is to potential. I mean, you just once I'm 22. I'm young. I'm just getting out of college. I didn't even realize, I guess, certain things that came into the game of the NFL. I just took it on as a job, but of course, there's always learning throughout that process that I probably could have taken more seriously for sure. But that draft day, I mean, it was a dream come true.
For sure, for sure. Well, and then, right, you finally get to training camp, but then what happens?
So, training camp, I tore my hamstring, grade 2, partial tear, and I was out my whole rookie training camp. And of course, in my head, I'm like, I know I can be out there with those guys. I know I can. I'm for sure can be toe to toe with anyone. There's a reason why I got drafted. But it was rough. Just that rookie years, it can be your most important year getting film for all the teams during training camp. And I was able. I had to sit out up until really week 1. Uh, yeah, week 1 of 2016 season. Had to. I got a call to go on P squad. So now I'm on practice squad, and I end up re-pulling my hamstring. So this injury was reoccurring all year. I would get healthy, then I re-pull it again. My first active game was Christmas Eve against the Chargers. I'm out there on special teams. I'm getting some reps in the game, and I ended up re-pulling it in the game as well. So it was just a reoccurring issue, very frustrating as well. Uh, I mean, I always had faith in, like, God's going to put you in a better position than what you think you're going to be in. Like he has you where you are. So I just that first rookie year, I stayed about a month after the season to just strengthen up my hamstring, get prepared for the second year. So definitely training camp. I was injured all training camp, so went through recovery, rehab, really all year of my first season.
But I mean, so you're trusting in God. Like I love that about you, Trey. Like you got such strong faith. But that's kind of one thing that I wanted to like get a little bit more of a sense of because
Mhm.
it's rookie year and I have zero idea what it's like. I can't relate clearly. I'm not an athlete, but isn't that like year one meant to be the make or break year? You either like start building to for the long term career, or oh my gosh, you're sitting out because injury after injury is just recurring. Is this deflating? Or are you going, oh my gosh, like my dream is unraveling? Like how is it going in the moments of when these are happening to you?
Uh, During the moments, it was for sure deflating because hey, if you can't get in the game if you're always in the tub. If you're always hurt, there there's always a new guy. There's always a new athlete. I mean, hey, they can recycle, especially late round picks. Hey, you can technically be just replaced, especially if they don't have that film on you. It's an investment, and if that recurring investment isn't showing up or is not hurt, then they decide to invest in someone else, put into job terms. So yeah, it was definitely deflating. It was I wouldn't say I was emotional. Um, I mean, of course, I have a great group of friends, great family that was able to, just continue to lift me up. And while I was going through that path, well, for sure, like I wouldn't put that on anyone. So different examples of it, athletes being injured, or they might they might have had their all all Pro Bowl year, and now they get injured. It's like, man, I feel it. I feel the pain. It's a lot that you can go through.
Right, right. And I guess in staying in the context, right? So
Mhm.
because the injury keeps the lack of playing time, the lack of you to get on the field, like you said, you didn't get on the field till December. So then the Browns released you after that first year, right?
After second year of training camp. So, for example, we didn't have a good year in Cleveland. They cleared house, and got a we had got a whole new coaching staff. I just remember just I could have had better days. I wasn't as consistent as I needed to be. I wasn't put in the right positions, and I had a lot of mental errors. I was still battling. I mean, still trying to make sure I am as healthy as I can be. And when I got put in certain positions, hey, certain opportunities I'd make, certain opportunities I didn't make. And so I got released in Cleveland. Then I went through that free agency battle. Um, I went from, shoot, it was New York Jets to the Philadelphia Eagles to the Houston Texans to LA Rams and Buffalo Bills. So that was that whole second year. And man, when I tell you not being able to play, I mean it's such a I mean it's mind-boggling. So then let's get to my third year. So I get released. The Eagles win the Super Bowl that year. That I'm running through different free agencies visits, and I get a call. I mean, it's the week after they won the Super Bowl. They were going to ask me to for a futures contract to be a part of the training camp and have a have a shot to be a part of the Philadelphia Eagles roster as well. Oh, man, I flew up there thinking I was about to get signed. I'll pass the physical. They'll run all the MRI, all the physical testing, and they ended up telling me like, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and pass your physical, but we recommend you getting surgery. You have a slight tear in your groin." I didn't really know what that meant. I'm a track athlete as well, so I always do sprints, different speed exercises in the off season. So I'm thinking I just have a tight groin, tight hip. I walk up to the second floor of his VP of scouting operations, and they denied my contract. They decided not to sign me, and told me to get surgery. So of course, in my mind, I'm like, I don't, I'm fine. I mean, y'all guys, they saw me work out in October. I was perfectly fine, and yeah, I mean, I broke down and cried in the office because when something hits you that quick and you just feel feel like your life is just at the bottom. Yeah, it felt like you just hit. I felt like I hit rock bottom. Because
Right, right,
was continuing to go from team to team, and I have a lot of friends they were really succeeding in the NFL, um, and it's a very unwelling feeling for sure.
right. Yeah, because right there's the bell at the ball.
Mhm.
You, Louisiana Monroe, Trey, who's drafted fifth. You're like, here we go. This is finally like my career is going to take off, and then because the body doesn't cooperate with you, the the career just doesn't take off. Oh my gosh, that had to have been just so
So
deflating.
it was
So
roller coaster feeling for sure. Definitely highs and lows, but I mean, it's another lesson that I've learned. I mean, that helps me in my career now to continue to be persistent, continue to fight for what you believe in, what you want to do. So that helps me now. But yeah, of course, it's not the best feeling in the world, to not be stable, to not be in this position for a period of time. It's like I'm here now, but how long will I be here? It's, it can be it can give you anxiety for real.
for sure. And so the NFL career doesn't develop the way you want to. So
Mhm.
then you ended up going to the XFL. Did I get that right?
Yes, so I was in the XFL in that 2019-2020 season. It was about as healthy as I've been. Was doing great. Was on the St. Louis team at the time, and I mean the NFL experience. I kid you not, there was probably 58. Yeah, about 52 guys had NFL experience. 51, 52, and there was two guys on that team that didn't have any NFL experience. And I mean, I was doing great, but we were so deep at corner, I was inactive. I wasn't really playing. So they traded me to the Tampa XFL team during week 3. And I kid you not, I mean, I'm doing great. I was about to start against my opposing, my former team, St. Louis. And boom, COVID happened. And that Thursday, I remember they're trying to rush Rudy Gobert. It was an NBA game. They're trying to rush Rudy Gobert off the court because he had COVID, or yeah, he had COVID. And I kid you not, we had our exit meeting that Friday morning, and I was back home Saturday. And they were like, "All right, we're gonna give this a couple weeks, and hey, we'll potentially see you guys within the next few weeks if everything slows down. Next few weeks ended up being a year, and then the
The
league
world shuts down, and and then the league shuts down, right? The XFL kind of just shuts
down.
down.
'Cause even once the Rock, the Rock's team, they brought it back. I mean, I wasn't coming back into 2023. So imagine that's a year and a half, really 2, 3 years going by, and imagine that just you have so many, you have so much time, and that's, yeah, 3 years. That's a long time, and I wasn't necessarily getting NFL shots again. So that was like my best opportunity to get back into the NFL, and I didn't want to go to the CFL. That 2021 season was that they canceled the CFL in 2021. So it was just like everything was on pause, and I was just continuing to work out, really doing like, I mean, there was one point I was doing like door to door sales, like outside sales representative type job employment. Just just to really stay stable. I mean, yeah, you have that NFL income, but just because you have you have 100,000, 20 to 100,000 in your bank account, that's not going to last 30 to 50 years. So
Right.
you want to keep continuing to work, really build my resume, because everything was so up and down. Everything was so roller coaster ride.
So then tell me a little bit about how you were emotionally, mentally, right? The career just clearly doesn't go the way you dreamed of it as a kid.
Mhm.
And right, my thoughts from the outside looking in is first for kids that pursue that kind of dream, right? They want it to be the everything that 30-year career or whatever. That clearly doesn't happen to you, but you're the one living through it. So well, when did you decide like kind of this isn't how it goes and leaning on God for like your next steps?
When I decided, I would say in around 2023. Um, I was a part of the XFL draft, but when I wasn't selected, that was probably my sign, kind of just to hang, not to hang the cleats up, but to go over my next step in life, go over my next career. And it was definitely, it's tough to hang one dream up, but when I know myself as a person, and the values I bring, I know what I provided in that career. I can just take that on in the next career and be excel. I could be the best in this new career as well.
What are you doing these days now?
So I am a mortgage loan officer out in Dallas, Texas. I work with a mortgage broker out in the Addison area. It's called Hometown Lending. I've been in that industry about 2.5 years, and just year by year, I continually to gain more knowledge, gain more clients, be able to bring value to clients and to realtors as well, to help provide that that opportunity for home ownership for buyers who not they don't necessarily know if they can even get into the house. But so I think that's what I've been doing now. It's I love serving. So as you know, I also do serve at Shoreline City, but I've really just moved, and instead of serving athletes, serving kids who want to become in the NFL, now I'm serving others and helping them get into home ownership. So
Your story is clearly something that I think people need to hear. That's why I asked you on. And also in terms of impacting the youth. Like you've spoken at schools now to try to share the story because this is this is one of those American dreams. Like, how do you try to keep it real when you're talking to the youth? Like, what is your message for them?
I think the biggest thing of keeping it real is letting them know it's not a smooth transition from high school to college to NFL to NFL to post career. It's nowhere near smooth. You really do got to put your faith, put your faith in the Lord. You have to have a great surrounding group of friends, family. Else, of course, you're gonna continue to go through your bumps and then eventually feel stuck. I've had my moments where I felt stuck, but I've had also just a great group of people around me, and I just you just got to know yourself. Um, the older I got, the more knowledge and gained, and the more just confidence I've gained in myself as well to know like, hey, I know this. I might be at rock bottom now, but if I continue to put in the work, continue to just not really have excuses for myself and why I didn't do this, why this didn't happen as long as I wanted it to happen. If I can just really pursue that same passion into the next field, then I'll be just fine. So I really just give them my story. It's not a smooth transition. You're gonna go through your bumps. You're gonna go through your trials and tribulations, your roller coaster events. But I mean, faith, consistency, being persistent in what you want to do, and that really will take you far.
And if you've got that high school kid that's got these dreams in his head, is clearly got some talent on the field, from kind of a mentorship, what would you say to somebody who wants to put all their chips in the middle and say, I'm this is I'm going all in. The football is going to be my life. What would you say to that kid?
I'd tell them, well, they better get to work right now. They better have the passion, the work ethic to want to do more than just practice within the school. They better go for a trainer. They do need to have the ability to to do stuff for themselves. I mean, search. Hey, what I was doing. I mean, I would look up my favorite players on YouTube and really implement some of the stuff in the game that they were doing. I was starting that at practice. I always say put in the hours, put in the extra time, 30 minutes a day. That compounds into, hey, however long you do those 30 minutes a day extra work, try and get those 10,000 hours.
What about the reality check? Because obviously, with the NIL, just
Mhm.
wanting to pour more dollars now at the collegiate level, these kids think they're going to be the next big thing, probably even more. In other words, the dream in their head gets bigger, not smaller. But how would you want to keep them grounded? Because while that was your dream, it didn't truly pan out. You had to have life after football. So how would you want to keep them grounded in that sense of taking college seriously, so they might have a real shot at a life that doesn't have anything to do with football?
It's tough to kind of give what they can stay grounded in because everyone's different. But how I was able to stay grounded was really my faith. I knew you just got to know the type of person you are. You can't be distracted by different social experiences that go on in your life. You do have to make this a priority. Make your education a priority. Can have a mentor. Someone they don't necessarily have to be a football mentor, but definitely have someone that can keep you accountable. But you also do have to hold yourself accountable too. If you're saying you want to get to this goal, what what are you doing to get closer? What steps are you taking to get closer and to feel to fill that void of the distractions? Because it's just gonna happen. Social media, NIL, everything is increased. So distractions have increased. I think
For real.
get in that Bible, or can, even if you're not in the Bible. I mean, I'm still on that journey. I think the biggest thing is, hey, you gotta really like give it your all. It's gonna take not just you, but a team of others that build you up as well. I think that's the biggest thing.
Amen. Well, Trey, thank you so much for coming on. It was great hearing your story.
I
I,
appreciate you, Ruben.
yeah, I wish you continued success and much love, my guy.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, gang, that's it for this episode. If you like my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. God bless you guys.